Okay. Let's get this done, boys. Let's get this done. So this what if is what if Deku had Son of the Breath of a Son Breath of the Sun style. Breath of the Sun style, as you guys should know what that is if you ever watched Food Wars. Yes, most definitely, it's in Food Wars. I don't know why I said Food Wars, but okay. So let me set the setting for you. Okay, guys. So Deku lives on a mountain, high mountain, and this what if it's the tallest mountain in the world in Japan? Yes, definitely. So in this highest mountain, there lives a family of three. One kid that is young, just newborn, a man with green hair, and a woman with straight green hair, no black in it. Like, you know how Deku's hair is? Yeah, that's how his father's hair is. In this family, they have a tradition of, they believe in a god that is the fire god, or they do a tribute dance for it. This tribute dance, without them knowing it, was a blessing to the dog from the gods all back in the day. With this tribute, they got the ability to slay demons. This ability was passed to people to help the lands that created other styles, but these styles were lost except one style that is known as Breath of the Sun, which this family still owns, that can slay demons. But throughout the years, these new abilities that were blessed from the advancement god, or the god of evolution, you could say, gave humans the ability to gain quirks. These quirks were used to slay demons, but even without these, they were gifted a medal from the god of Earth, which could penetrate these demons easier without the breath styles, giving humans a chance to fight nowadays against them. But there's a demon known as Muzan, who fought against the first Breath of the Sun user way back in the day, which survived by splitting his body apart into 1,000 pieces, which the Slayer could not erase or could not destroy every piece. So this family nowadays, right now, is living without knowing that this technique that the eldest son, or the only son in this case, uses. But this son was born like the first user, who was blessed by this god, who gave him this ability. He had the ability to see into the see-through world. Unlike the natural born one that was gifted this, he could activate it in short periods of time, not always activated. But with this came with the stamina loss. The stamina loss made it where he could use this. But of course the family grew up in the mountains with same materials as back in the day. No new technology. Of the year 2058. Or 2158, I mean. Yeah, that's the time period it's right now. Oh my god, you really had to push me off, dude. But yeah, this time period is a time of the fourth generation being born after the third generation of Quarks. But we'll focus on the main character, Deku. Deku being born with this ability, his father noticed this while he was growing up, from him being able to see a bird through many of trees, and explaining how it's breathing up and down after all, and see how it's making noises with its lungs since it is mating season for this species of birds. So yeah. But with him figuring this out, he refers back to his ancestor, one of the strongest one with the first ability of using it. And he explains to Deku that that is a see-through world, and it lets you read opponents' movements before they do it, which is very useful in battle, he explains. And that he needs to train that, and he will learn the technique that his family passed down for generations, known as Breath of the Sun. Or what Deku would be told what it is the dance of the fire god. So he would learn it, leave proper breathing to perfect the technique, or simply use it correctly. But even with this, he could not use it correctly with the see-through world. He improved his breathing day by day. Eventually, he turned 6. At age 6, his father's illness got worse, and he fell short of it. On one of his days that they played tribute to the god, he danced all night, and whenever day rose, he dropped down dead by his sickness, which sent Deku's mother into grief. With his mother not able to get medical help since they live in the mountains, and Deku does not know about that type of medical help, he would not be able to save his mother from it, and she would fall short to this distress, leaving Deku there with what he knows of his family and this technique, and there to survive on his own. Deku would live off of the food that he had until it was all gone. But whenever it was all gone, he would go find food, dashing through the mountains with his increased speed, with his breathing techniques. He would finally use his see-through world, being able to find some animals. He would look around. Eventually, he would find a boar, and he would jump off the tree to tree above it, and he would start spinning down, saying breath of the sun, or he wouldn't say sun, breath of fire, flame wheel, and he'd drop down on it, and he'd cut it in half, getting it, and he'd take it back to his home, dashing through the forest. He'd cook it, and he would eat it, but he would know that meat is not always the best choice, as his mother always complained of him always getting all the meat as a kid, eating it from the pots, and nothing else. He would go through the mountains, and he would find remnants of a rice farm. So, like a broken up one with claw marks in it. He would take this and look at the claw marks, which would confuse him, but he would assume it was some kind of animal that did it. And he would go off with this and would plant them. And he would make a small rice farm. This rice farm he would use for a source of rice, and he would find fruits that you can use in pots. So he would get all this and start a mini farm next to him. He'd use this as a source of different food than just meat. So yeah, he would live off of this farm and food that he can kill and eat from animals, and he would always pray to the gods, thank you for this meal and the animals that they provide for him. His family, I would say, prays to certain gods. I would say that, but yeah. So him living like this, eventually he would probably find a scroll describing all the breath techniques. Not or explaining the breath of the sun, new abilities, a new train. And this, with them training in it, he would grow up to age 8, 2 years later, after him living alone for these 2 years. He would be very adapted to his new life, since this is his life. But he would eventually get over living there, and he would take his blade. There's a special demon metal and anti-demon metal, and he would leave. But before he leaves, he would burn where he used to live to get rid of any temptation of going back to the place. He already decided in his head that he was gonna leave, so that's his decision. Burning it and making sure none of it spreads to the trees, because he does not want to harm the forest around him. Leaving his area, he would be dashing through the mountains, and he would end up hitting the bottom of it all, and he would have looked around and would assess the area. With him having a lot of forest to go through, dashing through, he would see a huge old building similar to his home, of how old it is, but he doesn't know this. 2-story building, but he would have went in it to see if there's anything there, somebody there to greet, and what he would be met with is a stench of death. The stench of death would instantly ward him off of knowing the stench. But he'd go in being curious of what's in there. He would go into there, and what he'd be met with is a sort of weird feeling behind him, and he would jump. Jumping up, he would look down, and he would see a claw mark similar to the rice field, it looked like. And that would be a demon claw mark. But it came out of nowhere, is what he's thinking. But he would hear a cry, and this cry would make him dash through the area, with him going through one door and ending up at the other side of the room that he was just in. This would confuse him and make him go. He would be confused, and he would look. And he would try to go through again, but he'd be teleported to a different room, taken away from the door that he was holding. So he would just try to stand up, but eventually a person would walk out. Not a person, a demon, with a sort of I don't know what they're called. There's like bongos, yes, bongos, in his stomach and back and all that. And he would tap one of them, and Deku would be teleported right next to him. Not in front of him, but right next to him. And he Deku would have seen this, and he would give a smile to him, saying that your blood smells delicious. Are you cutting his cheek? But Deku would jump back, saying, cool, clear blue sky, spinning around and would cut him in the side. But of course, it would regenerate. Which Deku knows this creature as a demon from his father, telling what demons look like and what they can do and the ability of blood demon arts. But Deku would, of course, do this and dash back and try to jump out the window, but he'd be teleported into a new room with the dude he can hear walking. He'll be running through the house, but of course he couldn't find anywhere to go. Until he hears somebody scream wherever he walks through the door, smashing through it with his sword. And he would meet a kid with yellow hair and a black spark through his hair. This kid would go up to Deku, grabbing onto his leg, saying, "Help me," pointing to a corner of a room where there's a sleeping demon. And he'd say, "Help me, help me, help me," yelling and telling him to be quiet where he doesn't wake up. And Deku would look at him like he was an idiot, since he's making more noise than anybody. But of course, demon would wake up, and this kid would say, "It's all your fault, it's all your fault. You should stay quiet." But of course, Deku would tell him to get behind him, and he would. But of course, when it comes to it, the kid would say, "How would you take down the demon without an anti-demon blade? Even with our quirks, we can't kill it." Which would confuse Deku, but he would not mention the quirk part. But Deku would pull out his blade, which his blade would still be a straight black blade. So there's no red blade yet. But of course he would dash forward, Deku would. While dashing forward, he would activate a move called Flash Dance. And he would speed forward, passing right by the demon, and the demon would have its tail cut off. This is a lizard-like demon that is in here. But, of course, afterwards, the demon would be scared, saying, "How does a kid have that type of sword? And can't be, is that a breath style?" Jumping off. This is an old demon. So this demon may be more frail than other demons since how old it is. And since demons are affected by age, if you guys didn't know that, he'll be much frail, but his techniques would be much stronger than they would be if he was younger. So he would fling his tail, saying, "Iron spikes," shooting them. Of course, Deku would completely strike them away he would use Flame Dance, which is a move that he uses 2 moves constantly and reusing them. 2 movements, and he would destroy all the parts of iron that's shot at him. Which one of them would go across the kid's face, which it would make him scream, shouting, and what would happen is that the kid would disappear out of the sight, smashing through one of the doors, with the kid breathing very heavily, and he would be scared. But of course, whenever Deku sees this, he would say that, why is he so scared with that type of movement that he just showed? That he should be able to outrun this demon, since it doesn't seem to be that fast. This must be an old one. But of course, these metal fragments would spread and create more, and would start making metal whips into the ground. And the demon would say, this is my blood art, known as metal plants. It's a technique I use to spread my metals by using them like plants and controlling them, whipping my opponent to death, and stabbing them with shards. Take this, kid. And he would start swinging them, but of course... Give me a second, I'm about to... I swear, people are really lazy. My sister needed a book for something that she needed for studying, and she didn't want to get up, so she called for me. But yeah, if they call me again and say that's the wrong book, I'll be like, why didn't you say so? But yeah. But Deku would have pulled out a move called Fake Rainbow. I can't read, I'm very blind. Fake Rainbow is very effective against people with good vision, since it creates a sort of fake after image with it, which it would trick an opponent and he would be able to sneak attack him, which Deku would use, and Deku would use the move called, what's it called? I forgot. It's on my side. Let me think. I think it's called Burning Bones Summer Sun. God dang, that's such a long name. Which you would rip and burn the demon to shreds. But after he slays this demon, he would tell the kid to get out through the window over there and use the speed that he used to get away. But whenever he looks back, the kid would have a dumb face on, which would confuse him. And he would put thumbs up, and that would confuse Deku even more. But he would try to wake him up, slapping him, but it wouldn't work. Instead, he would flop to the ground, doing the same thing. And sorry guys, this is the last little bit of this part. Goodbye.